Undoubtedly, you have heard about the National Association of Realtors lawsuit that's out there. And I'm just so fed up with all the myths and baloney-er stuff that I have heard about this lawsuit and how this is going to affect consumers and home prices and everything else. So I'm here today to tell you exactly how this is going to affect you. We're going to cover the 3 biggest myths that I think matter to consumers. And then I'm also going to tell you why I think this is not great for consumers as a whole. So stick around, let's jump in. The other day I was listening to a speech from the President of the United States, and no matter what side of the table you are on, I want you to have accurate information. This information was not accurate. The statement that he said was something along the lines of, for the first time ever in history, commissions are now going to be negotiable. So that brings me directly into myth number 1 from this lawsuit. Commissions are now finally negotiable, and sellers are going to have a say in commissions. Now, part of that statement is true, but the first part is not. Commissions have always been negotiable. I just want to be very clear about that. Always, always, always. Even if an agent sits down and says, my firm charges blah, 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 it is still a negotiable position. Agents aren't telling you that information. I don't know why. I tell my clients that it's negotiable, and Jeff tells his. Our whole team, we're very open about commission because we want it to be understood and fair and very clear for our clients. So this first myth makes me a little bit crazy because commissions have always been negotiable. I just want to make that very clear. What hasn't been able to happen is a seller could not offer 0 compensation to a buyer agent. That doesn't mean they can't offer $1. Yeah, I've seen $1 commissions in our MLS, but the MLS systems would not allow us to put a 0 in that field. So we had to offer something, and with the practice and the way that agents were not explaining things fully, I get it. Sometimes it can be misinterpreted that it is something that sometimes it can be misinterpreted that commissions are required to be paid, but I just want to be super clear with you that they've always been negotiable, and we were not able to offer 0 previously. Some MLS systems have already made the switch to allow you to put 0 in that field now. Not all of them have already made that change. The ruling in July is going to come down, and then I think a lot of this will start taking effect. But in Charlotte area, our MLS has already made that adjustment, and we can now offer a 0 buyer agency fee. Is that good? That's another video. So let's talk about myth number 2, is now buyers are going to have to pay for their buyer agency fee if they're going to use an agent to help them. I'm going to head back over here to myth number 1 that we shared with you and tell you that commissions are negotiable. So it depends. Not all buyers will have to pay a fee. It depends on if the seller is offering any type of compensation for buyer agency, or is there anything that can be negotiated through? Now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just came out and said that any commission that's pulled in closing costs for the buyer is no longer going to be a part of that total percentage that a buyer is allowed to ask for per their loan package with them. So if you can ask for 3% in closing costs and you need a little bit more to pay a buyer agent, they're not going to count that part against you. So that's a good thing. And I think a lot of lenders are going to come up with programs that work for buyers to help them either finance it in or maybe give them a credit towards it or something of that nature. Keep in mind also that it can be negotiated between the agent and the seller's agent. You can still come to the table and request something. So that doesn't make it an automatic, no, we're not paying anything and have a nice day. It just means you're gonna need a good agent that can really negotiate well. And that's where the trick is gonna be. So this takes me into myth number 3. Selling prices are going to drop, making housing more affordable because commissions are not going to be as high. No, commissions don't have anything to do with the market value of a home. If you've done anything in economics, you know that supply and demand are what rule pricing. So if there are a lot of houses available, then suddenly we're in a buyer's market. Buyers have a lot of homes to choose from. They can be super picky. They can come in and ask for a lot of repairs. They can get a lot of closing costs. They can get a bunch of money off the house. But we're not in that market currently, and we have not been for some period of time. We are in a seller's market even now, where home prices are still pretty high. And because there's not a lot of houses on the market available, sellers can actually ask for more, give less, and overall, they're walking away with far more money than they were before. That has a lot to do with appreciation, but also it has so much to do with supply and demand. We have done other videos in the past where we break down how many houses have been built every decade. Please check those videos out. They are awesome at explaining how the supply and demand is currently affecting our market and why prices are where they're at. Commissions have nothing to do with this. When I go price a property, I don't go, okay, so it's $100,000, and if I want my commission to be $40,000, then I'm gonna put in $40,000, now it's $140,000. It doesn't work that way. My commission is not $40,000. It just does not work that way. I want to talk real quick about some rumors that I hear about how much money real estate agents make, because I think there's just a big misunderstanding on how this works. If we get a commission and you look as a seller at the commission that's paid to your listing brokerage, remember, that number is negotiable, you agreed to it, but when I look at that number, you're not taking into consideration what I have to pay in taxes, what I have to pay to my brokerage, what I have to pay for photos that we've done or measurements we've taken on your house, or videos or marketing or any of the other things that we've put money into ahead of time. We take the risk because if the home doesn't get sold, we don't get compensated. Plus, we don't make money for our family to eat. So we're digging into our own pockets to cover those expenses, hoping to get your house sold or relying on our skills to do so. So when you look at that commission, please keep in mind that there are other factors that have to be paid. Now, Jeff and I and our team have absolutely zero issue at all sitting down with our clients and telling them exactly what we're going to be making on a sale, because we want commissions to be that clear. It's easier for us to tell you exactly how it breaks down so you can see our bottom line than to have you as a client feeling like you've been gypped or something like that. So please ask if you want to know, because we'll share it with you. How does this NAR lawsuit hurt consumers, hurt you as the general public? There's a lot of confusion around it. There's a lot of misinformation and fake news and fake statements. The Consumer Federation of America came out on February 2024. Stephen Brobeck came out with this article, and he said that there are 18 states that are reported to have a buyer agency agreement. North Carolina is one of them, so is South Carolina. Of the 18 that were reported, he could only confirm 13 actually have these in place. So of the 50 states, 13 of them have something in place to protect a buyer. A lot of this NAR lawsuit has to do with states that don't have buyer agency agreements. My in-laws actually moved to Florida. They did not have a buyer agency agreement. They didn't realize it was different than it is up here in North Carolina. And so they were not disclosed information that would have been very important for them to know and probably would have prevented them from purchasing the home they purchased. It's important to know what that relationship is. But when you create confusion around something, consumers get even more confused. And so what do? They rely on agents to help explain the information to them. Well, not all agents are going to give you the truth or even understand it correctly themselves, or are willing to share at open book style what information you need to know as a consumer, even if it hurts them. So make sure you're interviewing agents. It's going to be even more important now than it was before for you to interview who you're talking with and who you're working with. Calling listing agents is not super smart, in my opinion, because you're working with someone who's working for the seller. Until you hire them, everything you say has to be shared back with the seller in North Carolina. So you should hire somebody that's working for you to disclose information for you and help advise you on what you should do. That can really make your entire process easier. So do I think that commissions are going away or changing? No, I don't think they're going away, but I do think they're changing how they're getting paid. Instead of, in North Carolina, a listing broker offering compensation to a buyer agent, I think all of this is going to come directly from the seller now. That's fantastic. It should have been in the first place. The seller should be making a decision how much to pay the buyer's agent. I believe that. We've been practicing that. That question hangs in everybody's mind. So if you have questions about how to buy or sell real estate anywhere in the US, reach out to us. We have got a fantastic network of agents that are going to be able to sit down with you and tell you the truth about this and help you understand how it's going to affect you and your personal situation. We are absolutely happy to open up our referral network to you. If you're in North or South Carolina, please give us a call. We would love to talk to you, and drop me your comments below. Jeff and I are the #1 relocation team in the Charlotte area, and we want to talk to you about your relocation and moving to the area, but we also want you to understand how commission works no matter where you're at. Drop us some questions below, send us a comment, shoot us a text, an email, whatever you want to do. We're definitely here to help you. Talk to you soon.